Hello there, Mike the MC, bringing the self-care video. Today I'm going to share with you something from St. Hildegard of Bingen, and switching things up from the Catechism to other books now. It feels good to share with you all in the audience different ideas to talk about and my viewpoints on this, so that way as a counselor, right, I'm touching different areas of life that can help you possibly no matter where you are. And I think the one thing I feel about this that makes me feel happy is now that I'm getting some time back to work back on my personal studies as I'm going through finding the right job for me at this time. It's given me my time back to just be happy with my abilities and my traits. And so originally I had one idea for this video, but I think I'm going to switch it now to another one. The idea of different abilities at different times of your life. And so what I mean by that from St. Hildegard, she goes on to say how basically when you're young, a teenager, an adult, old age, that the different traits that you have, whether they are with a skill that you have, okay, say cooking, they may be more valuable to you at one point of your life versus another, or you may appreciate them differently in one time of your life versus another. And I think there's something more to be said about that. So let me share with you what St. Hildegard of Bingen is saying, and then I'll drive the point just a little further. And so she goes on to say, all right, with regards to the human body, all right, and the soul. The soul reveals your capabilities according to the capabilities of the body, referring to different times of life, the childhood, youth, right, the fullness of age. And basically, as the body grows old and weak, right, there'll be different traits of our abilities that may not be as strong as they used to. Okay, maybe my eyesight gets really poor, but now when I'm older, I have a much more appreciative manner towards driving safely, walking with people, knowing where I'm walking in the dark, right? And versus where I was just young and naive, right? I didn't have to drive. I was just a young kid in a diaper, right? And I'm just walking throughout the house. And the idea there is I'm just don't have to worry. My responsibility is very little at that point. But now that I'm older, having more responsibility with the things and actions that I'm doing, now it puts other capabilities with greater responsibility, and that's where St. Hildegard is going with this. But then you think about other areas of your life. So like I mentioned earlier, the skill of cooking, okay, you can appreciate the skills and abilities differently as you age. So maybe if you were younger, okay, you're trying to win a contest at school, or even more perfectly with me with reading. See, I never read many books growing up. I would read them for school, right, of course, for taking a test or doing a book report. But then once I hit my mid-20s, later 20s now to the early 30s, I just grew an appreciation for reading, loving books. The idea that I can just get some ideas from what I read, from different authors, different topics. Maybe the authors are contrasting or agreeing with each other, but that helps me get these ideas so then I can share with you all my opinions on certain matters. And for me, the ability to read has just grown so tremendously versus my whole life. For the majority of it, for the first 20 years, reading was not so important to me, but now it is. And I'm thinking, wow, why didn't I appreciate that ability earlier in my life? But for all of you all who watch this video with respect to the theme of what I'm trying to argue with, is that maybe some abilities we may not have appreciated early on in life, and we're starting to value them now, but don't beat yourself up for coming later than never to appreciate what you're able to do. And so the thing is, okay, maybe some of us would have been better singers or better artists, better rock stars if we had practiced our musician skills. Maybe some of us would have been better if we had gone into a different career at a different time. But then you think about your life and how, okay, maybe some of us like me, right, as we're trying to find the right career, we're trying to use different abilities at different times that are more valuable to us with respect to our skills. Okay, so maybe now it makes more sense for me to go into a job where I'm using more numbers than I am doing artsy stuff. Whereas if I was younger, maybe I would have preferred more of an athletic job of running like a shop or something rather than just working behind a desk at the office on a computer. And so I think with respect to our lives, with respect to our abilities, what is it that you think about this topic with respect to how we should value what is important to us? Do you value your life, the people around you? Do you put all that into perspective with respect to your abilities? And I think that comes into play as well. Because I'm thinking, okay, if I'm going to be a parent, if I'm going to be a role model for people, if I push myself to step outside of my boundaries, my fears, go across those limits, and I realize that I set a new limit for myself by going out there to practice my public speaking skills, it also opens up the doors for other people around me. And I think that drives into a point that I want to talk to some people in the future about a class, maybe one day, where I'm talking about, okay, if I'm pushing myself and my abilities, it's going to help other people improve their abilities. And so let me share that example with you in another context. So I was talking with my employees, my coworkers the other day at one of my jobs, and I was telling them, okay, because I was starting to overcome my fear of public speaking, it allowed other people in my community to step up because I was leading the way and helping the youth take leadership roles in the church. And that was so cool because now the parents, like I've mentioned in other videos, are like saying, hey, thank you for helping my kid become a leader. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you for letting them do the work that you do. And I'm like, hey, I'm just here to help and guide the work and make sure that they don't make mistakes, but that more importantly, they're not afraid, they're confident, and then that they overcome their fear. And I think by overcoming fear with some of our abilities, it really unlocks the doors and appreciates more of who we are, because by not doing the things that I was doing, there's no way the kids or youth potentially would have got to leadership roles faster. But the fact that I pushed myself, okay, it allowed the doors to be open for the kids to step up. And now that's to say, not to be selfish or make myself look like, oh, great or mighty. What I'm trying to say is, if you push yourself in different areas of your life, other people may benefit from that. And that is so cool to think about. And so just consider that, okay, if we are willing to grow in different areas, willing to think about ways of improving our lives, it's going to help other people. And then thinking about how we appreciate different parts of our life at different times, some may become more important and less than others as we grow older. And so what do you want to accomplish right now in your life? Share in the comments. Do you just want to become the best football player? Do you want to become the best college student? Do you want to become the best owner, right? And how does that reflect who you are with respect to your goals that you want to accomplish? And I think our abilities will be a reflection of that. And so for me right now, it's just reading anything from books like of people from the past, so that way I can share topics with you all in different contexts. And then by growing more competent, it allows me to have more conversations with people, and that just helps me talk with other people on different topics as far as keeping something going, a conversation. So there are abilities that can really last long for us if we learn to appreciate them. And I think St. Hildegard really brings up a topic that is so unique with respect to who we are in our different parts of life and our skills and abilities. And so what do you think? Do you think some people prefer to work on their abilities later in life than others? Do they tend to value one over the other? Or can one ability overcome other abilities that we may lack, right? And then how do you view yourself with respect to your abilities? What's the one that you're really proud of right now that you really appreciate? Share in the comments. But all right, that's for me from Mike the MC today. Hope this video finds you well. Don't give up on your life. Think about the abilities that you're able to accomplish or that you've appreciated throughout your life, and which ones you may want to improve upon now that you're becoming more aware of what you're able to do and not do. And that may consider for you some ways of helping other people in your community. Just things, big questions to consider. But all right, but thank you for your time and hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone, and take care. Have a good one.